Da 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 da. La da 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 da. Welcome, people of Megacity Gimel, people of Earth Gimel's associated territories, and any backwoods horrors that found their way to a radio at just the right time. This is Vermont Stretch Radio, the news show broadcast to you live from the mountain town of Killington. That's the Killington of Earth Gimel, not the one where I met up with a few friends for a shindig and painted the town red a while back. I am your host, Mr. Guy. I'm here to give you the news you need to survive through our society's slow slip back into the exact same excesses that we saw and that dragged us down into a barbarous and brutal end on Earthbait. And the inevitable takeover, of course, of those ashes by our beauteous and radiant goddess. Today's top story is more capes deciding to talk about what happened on Gold Morning as a talk show phenomenon. And with that, my faith in the revolution against the ghosts of the past has faltered. I'm sorry, listeners, if I got your hopes up, because I honestly thought that people were going to do something rather than just giggle and agree to more interviews and talk and talk and talk without even saying the name of the monster that conscripted them. Go ahead. Listen to Hard Boil and Sunny Side Up and Over Easy and all the other little talk shows and all the other little lies that the capes they interview spout. Act like you broke free of mind control, and act like you weren't already mind controlling capes yourselves. Pretend that every cape mattered when 280 of the strongest and canniest capes you knew were slaughtered the day before. God forbid anyone on Team Breakthrough decides to talk about that phenomenon. Moving on, though, to more political news, sadly. We've been given another recording of any day now concerning the possibility of democratic elections taking place. Any day now being any time between now and another 2 years from now, judging on the last time we got a report of any day now from the mishapen mess that is our political and legal system. In follow-on news, we are going to be carrying on with a little bit on the recent public spillage of that tragic and terrible secret that no one dared to talk about until a collection of fragile youths needed to distract everyone from their adorable little blackmailer of a teammate. Shortly after Team Breakthrough decided to break the whole taboo about talking about the fact that all capes are secretly slaves to an alien parasite that lives in their brain. Did we have to go with alien? I, personally, do not feel that I have an alien parasite. I feel like I have a bodiless force of love with me. Alien parasite is just a lot of fear-mongering and biased coverage, and it rules out a lot of valid interpretations like angelic forces, demonic possession, time-traveling humans from the future, or gods from beyond the stars here to save the minds of a terrible, terrible few. In any case, Team Breakthrough were shown what happens to capes that open their mouths a little too much, proving my own constant fear of going too far tragically, tragically true. An attack on the home of young extortionist enthusiast Kanzi Martin has sadly seen the injury of Team Breakthrough's lawyer. Well, their not lawyer, their law student. If you want to show your support for Team Breakthrough's legal counsel, just add #SaveNatalie on whatever social media you use these days. For those of you without access to ready or steady internet, and those of you whose lives are not so cushy as to allow you a 2-story house like that of #SaveNatalie, just carve it into the stump of a tree that you've had to cut down for firewood now that winter is here. In today's weather forecast, winter isn't coming. Winter is here. Panic, you city-dwelling fools! You thought that your daytime-only electricity would save you. You thought that the roads would be safe. You thought that the city was finished after 2 measly years. Sleet, and ice. You thought yourselves safe. The people on the edges of the world, they've lived with winter. The people in Lord of Loss's shacks or the teapot despots' camps, they know winter. I've lived with winter myself. Lovely woman. You either cozy up to her or you freeze to death. Anyway, winter is welcome in Killington, and if anyone wants to take a break from freezing to death, why not try our ski slopes? It's a bit of a hike to get back to the top of them again after a run, but it is a heck of a lot of fun, and it is a heck of a lot better than sticking around in the city as, well, capes continue to murder people wantonly, jackknife trucks on busy intersections. Let's not dwell on bad little tidbits like that, listeners. Moving on. We have gotten another letter, listeners. This one being from Iris Rink of the Camart tribe. Honestly, I can't tell if this is meant to be serious or not, but really, I mean, last week, an entire jury was incapacitated while trying to pass a verdict of guilty on a stranger. The week before that, a dead mass murderer was put on trial for murder. I can't just draw the line here. I can't rule out that anything that I've received as mail is legitimate and actually from somebody really in danger. It'd be ridiculous and insane of me to do that when what is real and what is fantasy blurs every week, and when Miss Rink really could be in danger. So, let's have a read of that letter she's gone and sent in. Dear Mr. Guy, my name is Iris Rink, and I write you on behalf of the Camart tribe. We listen to your radio show. It is pretty much the only radio show we can receive through the portals linking our corner of Earth Bait to your Earth Gimel. It used to be we weren't supposed to speak to humans, but the world ended, and you say the wardens don't think you're a human, and we're all out of other ideas, so we just have to hope our king will forgive us. Truth is, our tribe is dying. Our kind is dying. Since the humans took our king away, we have nothing left. No hope to be remade. No hope to ever be useful again. No hope to ever be accepted by others. We think that maybe, from what you've said on the radio, you know something about that too. So we decided to write, and I'm the only one who can speak English and hold a pen. The last few episodes, you talked about a goddess. We've never heard about no goddess from our king, but it must mean she is powerful, no? Do you really believe she could make the worlds better? And do you think she would take us in if we found a way to be useful to her? We cannot fight against the machines here much longer. In days, we'll have to break camp and flee, and if we had any direction, any idea where to go, it'd maybe help keep some of us alive and sane. Thank you for your time. Yours sincerely, Iris Rink of the Camart tribe. Well, thanks actually for writing in, Iris. Today was a bit of a slow day for news, although it'll pick up a little bit later. Bit of a warning from me. 3 pieces of advice for you and the Camart tribe. That's good news, bad news, and then some good news again. The good news is, if you can make it to Cali, if you can make it to California, the portal to Earth Eileen is open for business, and the Earths for the Majestic Horseman and the Teapot Despot are both safe for refugees of any shape or size, should you find yourself resourceful enough to cross into Earth Gibble first, before then popping back out elsewhere. Earth NAF is lovely this time of year, but they closed off their portal to Bait and aren't accepting visitors from Gimel. There's honestly plenty of space on the long Earth to find somewhere to settle down, so long as you aren't that bothered by the prospect of dying to brain-eating funguses or sudden volcanic super eruptions. The bad news is, I'm pretty sure trying to find your king will result in your death. I don't think there's a way you can get them to change their mind on the idea of exterminating all of you. The best defense you can have is being in the presence of a Warden's approved hero who is willing to validate and vouch for your existence as a living and breathing being capable of rational thought, because otherwise they'll just murder you without a second thought. But if you're friends with somebody, that's perfectly fine. Find a few people that would be willing to kick up a bit of a stir if anything unjust actually happens to you. A few friends willing to stand up for justice when it comes to what's right. Like those kids you always used to get in 80s movies. Finally, though, you could make a public access radio show so that any attempts to deal with you will just make it seem like they're running some kind of fascist regime or a dystopia that censors any attempts to handle subjects not approved by the state. Which, I mean, the Wardens very much are, but they'd prefer that people didn't think that. And finally, good news. As for Goddess, she's just wonderful. She's wonderful, she's powerful, and she's already taking over. Right now, as of this very broadcast, listeners. Once she's in power, she'll be perfectly okay with your kind, Iris of the Kmart tribe. After all, everyone is equal underneath our beautiful and radiant goddess. So, thanks for calling in, Iris. If this whole goddess thing doesn't work out, definitely check out EarthNav if you can make it in there, but I would also recommend the Teapot Despot. Lovely chap. And thanks for tuning in, the rest of you listeners. It means a lot to me that you're willing to listen and send in neat little things like this. And now, when twilight dims the sky above, recalling thrills of our love, there's one thing that I'm certain of. Return I will to old Brazil. La, 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 la. La, la, la. This isn't working as we hoped it would. La, la da 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 da, la da da. La da 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 da, la da da. This was a fan production for the Parahuman Audio Community Content section over on parahumanaudio.com. Although if you're listening to us over on Stitcher, we are a podcast after all. If you are listening to us on Parahuman Audio, we are also available on Stitcher, should you want to listen to us a little more easily on the go. Worm, Ward, and the Parahuman series are all owned by and are the property of and were written by John Wildbow McCrae. Be sure to check out his Patreon. It's under Wildbow. It should be the first thing that pops up when you search that. Thank you to Robert Rain Ramsey for hosting us on Parahuman Audio and giving me a few pointers for this whole podcasting business. I did not have a clue about anything when I started off. Thank you to Kitius, who beta reads our scripts and is a lovely sort. And thank you to the Cauldron Discord server. They are a lovely bunch of people that specialize in the Worm fandom, and particularly have a number of resources for any new and aspiring writers, fanfiction or not, that can be taken advantage of rather easily. And finally, thank you to you for listening, because it means a lot to me that people are keen about this dumb thing that I do with voice recorder and a few minutes of writing and a few minutes of scripting. It's honestly one of my funner things I do in a week. Right, that will be the end of today's broadcast, so thank you for listening, thank you for helping any one of those mentioned earlier above, and the song that is constantly being sung throughout this episode and many others is Brazil, well, Aquilero do Brasil, the song that is played almost to the point of nausea throughout the 1985 Terry Gilliam film Brazil. It's good. You should probably watch it. Toodaloo.